Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me, as always, my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
How's it going, fellas?
What's that?
It's Conor McGregor from Roadhouse.
How's it going, fellas?
Hello, baby.
It's like a mix of Conor McGregor and Austin Powers, which is a terrible, terrible image I wouldn't ever want to wish on anyone. But now everyone's thinking it. What would Conor McGregor look completely dressed up like Austin Powers?
It could be done. It could be done.
I don't want to see it. But listen, let's move on straight away. Have you got a trailer of the week for us before we kick into our...
I do have a trailer of the week, David.
Okay, hit me with it.
Joker 2.
Interesting choice because at the time of recording this, that trailer has not come out yet.
But Folly You Do is coming out on Tuesday the 9th of April.
Yeah, this will be out the 10th.
Exactly.
Should be out since yesterday. Are you excited for Joker 2?
Let me tell you this now. Joker came out. We saw it. I didn't do a presentation for a pitch in college because she was taking too long to see people. You got in and out and we're like, nope, I'm going to see Joker 2. We're going to see Joker. This is in 2019. And
I don't remember this.
Oh.
But you clearly do. Yeah.
I clearly do, yeah. I was sitting next to you in the hallway in the college and a few other people. The plan was to go see Joker. Our lecturer was seeing students deliver 2-minute pitches or 5-minute pitches, and almost each student took 10 minutes or more. Therefore, I literally remember you sitting next to me looking at the teacher who was coming and going and like, come on, putting your watch that was there or not there, I don't know, but using the metaphor.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Joker. Like not saying it to yourself, but loud enough for me to hear, but not loud enough for her to hear. And you went in, you did your pitch, and by no fault of yours, it took longer than it needed to. And as a result, everyone else had finished theirs, and they had all left to go to the cinema. And I think it was just maybe you and me left who haven't left to college to make our merry way to see Joker. So I said, let's just go.
Did you not do your pitch then?
No.
I don't remember that at all. What was that pitch for? That was for a final year project?
It was definitely nothing too serious.
Okay, that's
it was one of the smaller pitches for a project to pitch. I was definitely not as invested as I was. Like, my social anxiety took priority to this. I wanted to have a good time with the lads
and see
Joker. And so we went out and we did that, and it was great. And wow, fantastic. Great movie. Loved it. If you hate it, oh well.
It's funny, I've only seen it that once.
Really? You haven't seen it since?
No, and I really like it. And I've seen the last scene. Well, not the last scene, but the talk show scene. I've seen that a few times.
Yes.
Just in terms of like it comes up on YouTube and I'll throw it on. But I've not sat down to watch it. And I'm a little bit... I have mixed feelings on this newest one. Just because I thought that the first one was so good and it just needed to be a standalone. I didn't need it to have a sequel at all.
Well, here's the thing, David. This movie was supposed to be a standalone. This movie was envisioned, designed, developed, and then crafted and executed as a standalone movie. But, you know, it's a bit of a head scratcher on why you should not do a sequel when your first one makes a billion.
Yeah, big B billion.
And gets a whole lot of Oscar buzz, plus the win of the lead actor.
Yeah, no, in fairness,
Joaquin Phoenix, and also audience praise. Critics, not critics, the bodes, but like, you know, movie critics giving it well praises as well.
Just ticked every box.
It just ticked every box, and then where everyone's going like, should we do another one? Now, I was of the club who did not want another one. Remember, this is in the era where the DCEU is struggling, to say the least. Well before James Gunn stepped in to do his Suicide Squad movie. So even though this was still an outside world, you know, this is before Robert Pattinson's Twilight Boy, the Batman. So I didn't want one. You know, I didn't want one. I wanted them to stand by their original intentions, stick to their guns, and not do a Joker sequel. But they announced it. Me complaining about it ain't gonna change it.
No, it's coming whether you like it or not. Yeah,
so just get on board with it if you can. I did. Lady Gaga. Okay, so they're not like soft tooting it here. They're not going to pull a Madam Web with the Peter Parker baby, or the Aunt May thing, or the Spider person.
Spider guy.
They're gonna full on use Harley Quinn. Get Lady Gaga in there. So I know she's going to be great. I know Lady Gaga is going to be a great alternative take on Harley Quinn compared to Margot Robbie. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this movie progresses. And it's also a musical.
Yeah, that was the biggest shock. And then it made sense why having Lady Gaga there.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I just wonder what capacity will this be a musical? Like, will it be...
A Les Miserables or a Moulin Rouge?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, like, will these...
Les Miserables is 90% song.
I don't think it'll be that, but will it be that the musical sequences are all, like, dream sequences in her head?
I think it'll be just a mixture of, like, what Rocket Man did. Because even though Elton John's singing along and dancing, he's not the only one doing that.
Yeah.
And they also do a mixture of fantasy, and he's going on stage to play and perform, and it's a musical montage sequence. So I think I'm anticipating it'll be a mixture of that. And it's got Brendan Gleeson in it. It's got the crazy mother from Get Out in it.
Okay, yeah.
It's got an interesting selection of cast of actors. So I'm looking forward to this. I wonder how much of it will be set in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Because there have been some images where it's set outside of Arkham. So, and yes, Todd Phillips is coming back to do it. And one of our friends recently said that, it turns out Todd Phillips is actually not the Hangover type of director. He's actually interested
I remember
in strange, deranged, dark, unpopular storytelling content, Like, he's into the down and dreary and heavy topics.
Would have thought to be far more likely to do these kind of movies rather than the Hangover series.
He's no Judge Apatow or Jason Reitman. Yeah, because them two are kind of known for their family comedies,
comedic chops.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the trailer coming out this year. And are you gonna watch it?
I think I'll watch this one to get a feel for it, and then I probably won't watch any more.
Yeah. Did you see the poster?
Yeah, I did.
Look good.
Simple.
Oh yeah.
Relatively simple. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Joaquin Phoenix sing and perform as the Joker. And I do you welcome the musical aspect of this movie? Like,
listen, I'm not going to fault a film for taking a swing, for doing something different. Whether they land it or not will be a different story. But some films, if they want to do something different, like he did not want to make Joker again.
It was never the plan.
Yeah, no, but when he was signed on to do it, when they
Joaquin Phoenix
or Todd Phillips, that either of them said, okay, yeah, let's do this again, but let's do something different. That it's not just a carbon copy again,
because this is
lesser for it.
This is Joaquin Phoenix's first
sequel.
Yeah,
which is insane with a guy of his caliber and his career. This is the first time he's done a sequel. So obviously, if this is enough to warrant a sequel, if he's happy to sign on for it,
then it has to be good.
It has to be. He saw some kind of value in it and wanted to do it. So,
and what about to those who like the first Joker movie, but hear the fact that the sequel is going to be a musical and just reject that?
I don't know. I think that Hollywood has a bit of a habit right now of hiding the fact that things are musicals. They did that with the new Mean Girls movie. And I think a lot of test audiences hide the fact, with test audiences, they score it lower if it's a musical. So when they go to advertise, they don't advertise it as that. So I would be surprised if even this trailer showcases that musical aspect at all.
I would criticize it heavily negatively if it doesn't show to me some musical elements. It's stated to be a musical, so you gotta put it in the trailer. But what do you think about casual fans who would think, oh, that's stupid, I hate that, like, just gonna...
That's fine, don't watch it. That's fine. There's nobody forcing you, no one sitting you down in a seat and saying, watch this movie. If it's not your thing, don't watch it, it's fine. I think there's a lot of overly negative, overly hating stuff on online and just amongst fans and stuff like that. It's just easy just not to watch things.
Yeah.
Trust me. Listen,
Borderlands ain't gonna be for everyone.
no, biggest example I can give you is the Halo TV series. I'm a big fan of the Halo games, and I tried to watch the TV series, and I don't like it, so I stopped watching it. And I don't talk shit about it. I don't talk negatively about it. You'll bring it up every now and again, and I go, "Oh, go on, stop talking about that." Because I don't want to engage in negativity because the negativity is coming from me. So, the best thing I can say is if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't watch it, and just move on with your life and watch something you do want to watch. And that just goes with everything, you know.
Words of wisdom.
So that brings an end to the trailer of the week section. Let's talk about the movie we're going to talk about.
It's a little bit different when you're talking about a trailer you haven't seen yet, let alone it's not being released yet.
It'll be interesting if the trailer is so good that when we record for next week's episode, if you want to just talk about it again for a little tiny bit, but we'll have to see. Wait till see that next week, see what we do.
Trailers tend to be in competition for each other on this channel.
That's true.
On this podcast.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
I hope it's good anyway. But yeah, so we're talking about a movie called Gassed Up today.
Okay, David.
Brian.
Why are we doing Gassed Up?
So I was kind of thinking, I was looking back through all of our previously released episodes, and I kind of thought we obviously do a lot of newer films, and we do films that are pretty much, we try schedule films that they've come out maybe the previous weekend and we're talking about it then the following week.
So we're quite ever present.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've done Blue Beetle and Gran Turismo and A Haunting in Venice, you know, these movies have been released within a month or so within each other. And
roughly so, yeah.
Yes.
And then the likes of the last couple that we done have been like Godzilla and then Ghostbusters and then Dune and stuff like that.
So whatever new movie is coming out, we'll likely end up discussing it.
That's how we schedule things as well.
Yeah, we're not choosing random topics. Like, for example, Another Happy Pod in their main show, they talk about whatever they feel like they want to talk about next. They're not talking about whatever's new. Like,
we try to keep it as current as possible. Well, that's just the style that we've gone for.
While trying to intersplice some stuff that have been released God knows how long ago, like we discussed about the Indiana Jones 4 movies. We gave spotlight episodes to discuss School of Rock and Mad Max Fury Road. So
for this week then, rather than doing something that was brand new in cinema, because honestly I don't expect anyone to go to the cinema every single week the same way that we do. We're a bit fanatic, so we go every single week and see.
There's something wrong with us.
Something wrong with us. So I wanted to have a look and see about something that is on streaming, maybe something that people haven't heard of, just something that we can shine a light on that might be a little bit of an easier watch than, you know, because especially if it's not just you, if it's you and your partner that are going out, it's the two of you is buying a ticket and then you're probably going to buy popcorn and drinks. Like, it's an expensive night out if that's what you're going for. If the cinema for you is a night out, whereas let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Gassed Up, which is, you know, it's available on Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's on it's in the top 10. I think it's number 2. Has been all of last week anyway. It was number 2.
When I watched it, it was in number 2.
Number 2, yeah. So it's clearly resonating with audiences. People are watching it. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. So Gassed Up, what initially attracted me to it, right, was when I read the description, and it was that it was set during a peak of a wave of moped crimes sweeping London. And for some reason in my head, I think it was moped and scooters, and in my head I thought it was going to be electric scooters. So I was like, how are they going to film people getting robbed from electric scooters? And I just thought it was the funniest thing that I had read, that I was like, okay, yeah, let's give this a go. And so there are no electric scooters. It's all moped crime.
Them darn mopeds.
And when I was watching it, first of all, it opened with them, like, a bunch of random characters we haven't been introduced to yet. And
we're in helmets. We don't know what they look like yet.
They're driving through the streets of London and they're just robbing phones. And I'm like, oh my God, I actually didn't realise how easy that was. Like, I walk around with my phone in my hand.
Yeah.
No bother. And it could easily be snatched at any point in time. And I sometimes...
when you don't expect it.
No, sometimes I do think of it when I'm walking past people. If I'm walking past someone sketchy, I hold it a little bit tighter. And I'm like, I should probably just put this in my pocket. But if a moped came along and robbed it, it's gone. Full stop. So I was like, yeah, that's it.
And to still have the cheek to rob flowers from one place and give it to the nice lady.
That was funny. Yeah, that was. It's like adding a little bit of character that these guys aren't like hardened criminals. They're having a bit of a laugh too. They're trying to make each other laugh.
And then when one of the phones ringing, they say, "Oh, answer." Puts on a fake heightened voice. Yeah. Says, and what does it? F off, man! You're not getting this phone back. So I tried to put myself in the shoes of the person whose phone was robbed. Oh, I'm ringing my phone off my mate's phone, and I'm ringing, and here, can I please get my phone back? It's like, you're not getting your phone back. Like, I know what it's like to be robbed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately,
and that's got a sting to know that this person has your property, and
then making fun of you for it.
Yeah, it's like,
but I think that opening scene, it really does maybe kind of highlight to us the stakes of the film, that it is very low level crime, that it's not.
These are definitely underdogs.
Yeah,
type of criminals. They're not the big boys.
No, and we're not dealing in hardened drugs here. We're dealing with low level guys that are doing this for a quick bit of cash.
Yeah,
that we're gonna get. They're gonna grab their couple of mobiles, sell them on, and split the money, and that'll nearly kind of fund their weekend. You know, and I was like, okay, that's the level we're on here. Okay, that's reasonable. Do you know?
When we're introduced to the five lads.
Yeah, so we're introduced into the world of this low level group, would you say? And you've all the names there. I know that there was Ash, who's our main character, Roach, Dubs, and who are the other two?
The other two is Cubs and Mole.
Oh yeah, Mole, he leaves pretty early, doesn't he? I feel like he's not around for very long.
I would say, gets at least a bit of screen time. But no, he's not the first to leave.
No, okay.
So
I don't remember him.
We can get into that later when we're talking in depth of the plot. But essentially, this is Ash's movie, and we go home with him. We see, yes, he's good. He's close mates with Roach, but Dubs is the commander in chief of this group, if you will, commander in chief in the unofficial sense that he's the one with the contact to deliver the stolen goods to his cousin, who has connections in higher places, Albanians, the Albanian mob. And since he's trying to move up in the world through the resources he's got bestowed to him, he's got a bit of a cop-on sense. Like later on, we're following Ash. We see in his world he's looking after his sister while the mother is a junkie coming in and out of the apartment every now and then, and like it's just them two who have each other. And you know, it's actually it was a bit sweet to see this brother sister relationship. You know,
yeah, we're shown very clearly that he's, even though he's doing bad things, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah,
like he's got that, you know, I'm doing the bad things, but they're justified. It's for a good reason.
Yeah, as with any time you follow a criminal in any content, like if you're following Tony Soprano, like he is a bad guy, but you see his home life, you just get to know him, and it's pretty much the template of how do you follow the bad guy.
How do you make him a likable character?
And we even see he's got a bit of a positive relationship with a fellow neighbour, or someone who used to be with his mother.
That's the mechanic guy, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve Toussaint. Do you know who he is?
No.
Oh, what did they call him in House of the Dragon? The Sea Snake.
Is he the Sea Snake?
That's him.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
No way. I'm looking this up.
I
had no idea.
Him. Oh yeah. And
oh my god.
Every time he was on screen, I was just thinking,
the Sea Snake is here.
Ah, the Sea Snake.
Oh man, I actually didn't realise that at all.
So he's actually trying to keep an eye out for Ash, try to motivate him to come in to do some honest work, to make a good living and to make something of himself. Yes, it's mechanic work, is boring work. No one wants to do that, especially when you're living the high of life by stealing and making a quick buck about it. And
because so far the bad part about his life is the relationship with his mother, or the absence of her. Because realistically, he goes out, he does the robbing, he seems to be having a good time doing it, and then he goes out with his friends to the nightclubs.
Yeah.
Do you know? So whatever he's doing is enjoyable at this, and this level of life is fine for him.
He still has it at the back of his head that he wants to put his mother in rehab.
Yeah, he wants to do more. Yeah, because he does have that call to.
And the relationship with his sister, like, and he's still a child, still playing video games on the couch, and then here in comes his sister. You need to take me to practice, and he's like, he's not being no or anything like that. He says, "Oh, come give me a hug and a kiss." So
say please. I didn't hear please.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like,
and that's
real childish.
Yeah, stuff. It was nice. Like, it's him being somewhat of a responsible adult, looking after his younger sister, because that's the situation they're in. You know, it's. I thought that was nice. So, yes, he is living the high. He's living the luxury of what he does in his life, stealing and spending and going to clubs and then making contacts in the nightclub, and he meets the girl. I don't think I was able to fully concentrate on that part. I was more so invested on the group of friends who this gang, and I suppose lifted myself up on the next sequence of when they're robbing, which was they end up going to rob some mopeds, I think, outside the Sea Snakes. We'll just call them.
We'll call them the Sea Snake.
Let's call him the Sea Snake.
Out of
his garage. And him out there come swinging bats and all that.
Wrenches, yeah.
And Roach, Ash's best friend, bottle of acid, just carries around bottle of acid and shoots him at it, and he thinks he's the hard man. Saying, yeah, what you think? I hate that. I hate the accents. I hate that gangster young hooligan type of accent, because it's probably not even the accent, it's the attitude.
Yeah,
because
I know what you mean,
because if someone like with that tone and voice and attitude, if I'm getting the better of them, they're complaining, what are you at, man? Like quit it, like calm down. Whereas if they get one up on you, say, yeah, what you gonna do now? It's like they're not only they win the level of getting one over you, like, I don't know, throwing some acid on you, they antagonize you and they belittle you as well. I just like to see someone like that, with an attitude like that, to praise themselves to be that good when they've got a bullet in their knee. You know?
Yeah.
Just get a kneecap and I'll see if you've got an attitude then.
It's definitely like a current, it's an attitude and a way of speaking that I agree I'm not a fan of, but it's not one that I come across very often either. Like, it's very like inner city London kind of accent, and there are a lot of YouTubers actually that would speak in that way as well, which we'll speak about later in the show in the flashback section, so be surprised. But I know what you mean. Yeah, like it doesn't matter whether it's this accent or if it was like an inner city Dublin accent.
It's the attitude.
It's the attitude.
It's the young hooligan attitude.
Yeah,
stealing purses and phones from speeding mopeds.
But I see what I found about that scene to be quite funny was like that he had that moment where he hits him with the acid and he's like, you know, on top of him, like, what are you gonna do? And then all five of them on the one moped scooting off. And I was like, that is hilarious. That they couldn't even scavenge. They came in with two mopeds and left on one.
Yeah.
You know, they lost a moped in that battle. I thought that was very funny that you have these hard men and all five of them on one bike scooting away.
I mean, you gotta get away, but I gotta give the props to the stunt men, if it is stunt men on that moped. First of all, I've never driven a moped. I've ridden a bike once. Once.
A push bell, a bike.
Yeah.
Not a motorcycle.
No,
a bike.
Yeah, a bicycle that I fell off quite a few times. Not too long ago either. So I won't fare too well in balancing myself on a bike, let alone a motorbike, let alone a moped with four mates on, two in front, two behind. And because it was his friend, Ash took a back seat on the theft or the attempted theft. And then in comes Dubs, the unofficial one with the common sense.
Yeah.
He's
kind of the leader, the de facto leader.
Like, yeah, like he'll look after himself when the push comes, but he pretty much has the chat with Ash. You gotta kick him out. He's gone. He's just he's too wild. He's too
impulsive.
yeah.
I kind of nearly, when I was watching that scene, I kind of was drawing comparisons to, you know, Joe Pesci's character in Goodfellas,
Yeah.
where he's too much. He's too impulsive. He's not good for the gang, and this was Dubs giving him the opportunity to let him go.
Yeah.
Because
If you really think about it, Ash is then Ray Liotta and Dubs is Robert De Niro. To use as template. I'm not saying that their arcs or characters are the same.
If we're
but
using the template like
template,
that,
yes. Emphasis on template, David. I've got a couple of templates from previous classic movies to give into this.
But I never felt like, even though there was that moment of him saying, you know, he needs to go, Roach was never in danger, because they're not at that level yet.
Yeah.
They're not at the level of hurting him or anything like that. It's
These are kids.
yeah,
him and
he's your friend. Say it to him.
and
you know?
and him being kicked out was a hit towards his self-esteem and his social anxiety, because he's still a kid. And my friends just dumped me. Yeah, well, I don't care. You know, trying to feel high and mighty, whatever. But then he comes home to his abusive, drunken Irish father. And I will admit, some alcoholics are Irish, but not all Irish are alcoholics.
No.
But this man was an abusive alcoholic, and you can
it kind of explains.
It does explain why.
It explains, but it doesn't excuse. I always like that. Like, whenever I see something like this, where he has a really tough home life, and it's like, okay, that explains it, but it doesn't excuse it. It doesn't mean that this is the path he should have taken.
Yeah.
No, that's just me. But sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it pretty much exactly is what it was. I suppose I was curious, what would happen if he did have a good home life? Or what would happen if he did end up standing up to his father, popping him, and knocking him on his back, taking a hit at him, and he's actually not as capable, as strong as he thought he would be. You know?
Sometimes I find that a little bit more interesting, when someone does come from a good life, a good home life, and they still choose this life of crime and violence. And
it shows that they're an asshole, is what they are, David.
Yeah, like it's easy. I think it's easy to have someone go home and their father's abusive, so they go out and they're a menace to society afterwards.
Yeah.
But if they come home and they're actually from, do you know, like in Saltburn, when Oliver goes home and he's actually from like a well off, like
a lovely home life.
Yeah, like a middle class, but like high end middle class, like it's a good life, but he plays it off like that his parents are drug addicts and stuff like that.
Oliver's
different review.
Different,
but,
yeah.
I think that would have been a little bit more interesting on the character basis.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going to fault the film for what it didn't do.
No, like it's what I expected.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah. Do you want to jump into some flashbacks before we go on any further?
Yeah, David.
Laura, play that jingle first. Thank you, Laura. So, we have some flash facts for you for this episode of Gassed Up. So, flash fact number 1. This film includes performances by 3 well-known YouTubers: Harry Pinero, Young Philly, and Miss Banks. So, I don't know if you knew any of these guys.
No.
I don't know Harry Pinero. I don't. Young Philly. So, he is the guy who... he got up on stage. He was kind of hosting the rap battle.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very famous YouTuber. And then the singer, when they go into the nightclub as well.
Yeah.
That's Mrs. Banks.
Okay.
Or Miss Banks even. Sorry, I'll call her by her maiden name, Miss Banks. Young Philly, I've seen clips of him and stuff like that. He would be very much like, I think he would be associated with like the Sidemen and stuff like that. But I'm not as familiar with his content and stuff like that, to be honest.
I wonder if them featuring in this movie gave them a boost in their craft, as opposed to doing it for a quick buck or doing it to get a good buck, you know?
Yeah, I'm curious which way did it go? Was it that...
Well, I was indifferent by it. I was just looking.
You didn't know who they were.
No,
yeah, so.
Honestly, I was thinking about 8 Mile.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Before they reference 8 Mile, I was thinking about 8 Mile. Oh, Anthony Mackie.
Your mind went a little bit elsewhere.
It went off a little bit because it wasn't so much focused on the 5 lads. It wasn't focused on them per se. I know they were all there, but when the lads were all together, it was more so specifically them. That's when it was the main headline for me. I was like, eyes forward, buddy.
Yeah, fair enough. Flash fact number 2, the character of Kelly was played by Mae Muller, who was actually the 2023 Eurovision song entrant for England. She was approached to do music for the film, and this marks her debut acting performance, role, whatever way you call it.
Oh.
To be honest with you, I don't really follow the Eurovision, so I didn't know that.
No, I just like the previous flash fact, David. That's why it's a flash fact you're telling us, because I wouldn't have known otherwise. But it's not as if I know any general flash fact you ever give us anyway, David. Like, there might be one or two every now and then that I knew of, or I misunderstood. But in general, I don't know these facts, David. And
interesting that she doesn't appear singing in the film, even though she's
oh my god, you're right.
She doesn't. And she's approached to work on music for the film, but doesn't actually sing or anything like that.
She was the main love interest, right?
Yeah, if you can call her that. Yeah, she was
with Ash.
She was Ash, yeah, exactly. She's the one. She was a fashion designer, or like she was selling stuff on Depop and stuff like that.
Yeah, she was definitely not in the underworld.
No.
That Ash was heavily featured in.
No, and she very quickly got out of.
She was having none of it.
No, as soon as there was a sniff of that, she was.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm gone. Best luck.
Almost in a selfish way. However, I like it how it was conducted. It was like very to Ash's face. It's like, this was fun, but I think you should go now.
Yeah. No miscommunication here. It's over now.
Good for her. I'm actually happy for her.
Yeah.
Because this is in a point where Ash is made. It's in the part of the movie where Ash is making some poor decisions, and
there's consequences for those decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then flash fact number 3, the term gassed up is slang for someone who has delusions of grandeur. Or as we in Ireland would say, they've got notions. Which I think is very funny. In terms of the Irish one, the term notions that we use is for notions of grandeur. But we take it down to notions, because saying notions of grandeur is like having a notion of grandeur. You think you're better than you are, so we just say notions. I wasn't aware of that, and obviously gassed up, I thought it's obviously dual fact that it's in relation to the mopeds being gassed up, and then these boys think they're hardened criminals, but they're actually like very, very low down, and they start to slowly climb those ranks, and then, you know, as the film goes on, and then they realize no, we don't want this.
Hey David, you're great.
Why'd you say that?
You're great.
You're gassing me up, bro.
You're a great lad.
Stop it, bro. Stop it. And that brings an end to our flashback section. Laura, play us out of here. Thank you, Laura.
So, David, there's this one scene where Ash is feeling the pressure of the world he's entering, because Dubs' his cousin, the unofficial leader, or unofficial villain of the movie, I would say. How about
she's like the benefactor almost. Like, I kind of see her in that role of like, I give you the jobs, you do the jobs.
Yeah, if you don't do the jobs,
then we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. So the next part is when the four boys, Ash, Dubs, Cubs and Mole, they're robbing a high-end jewellery store.
Yeah, they've upgraded now from mobile phones to
jewellery.
We're going to actually rob a store.
Proper robbery. Something that, it's not in their wheelhouse, but they want to rise up. And I actually really appreciated that scene between Dubs and Ash. Ash takes his sister to see Dubs, and we're in Dubs' apartment. Small enough, cozy apartment. Has a small balcony, but has the gym gear outside. He's really trying to make a rewarding life out of what he can. And he's telling his backstory of how he was smuggled into the country, and the captain told him and his family to swim to shore, swim to England, and he was only a child when doing that. And he was talking about how he wants to rise the ranks and get out of this petty life of just going around a moped, stealing whatever he can that looks of value. Like and he's still seems like an honourable guy. See, he has a code, because back when the reason that he had him kick Roach out, we don't assault people. If you insult people, if you injure people, you hurt people, you draw unwanted attention to us, you bring in police. They're not gonna care if we steal a few phones and things, that's why the business is good. You start maiming people and injuring people, it's gonna just defeat the purpose, and it's just gonna come down. You're gonna
bring us to a new level that we can't
handle. And not to deviate from Dubs, because I'm still talking about him, but the scene following later where the Sea Snake is talking to Ash and he's got his arm bandaged up. You know what he does? He says, I don't want to be sending those kids away for 10 years just for a simple mistake they made. Like, whoa!
I was set myself. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
You know, when it's something so small. Like he's burnt by acid.
Yeah.
And he's saying, it's not, you know, it's these guys are making a mistake. They don't realize, they'll realize eventually. So I don't want to ruin their lives, because I think he's of the impression that if he sends them away, they're going to get into harder stuff.
Yeah.
While they're in prison and come out.
The cycle's just going to keep spinning.
Yeah.
So what a strong man that is there. What a healthy, positive mindset he's got.
What do you expect from anything other than the Sea Snake? Like, of course he's going to be a strong man.
The best thing about the Sea Snake is not what he does, but what he says.
Absolutely.
Literally.
He always stands by his family, no matter what.
So, back to Dubs. I knew he was probably going to be my favourite. It wasn't with his hair is the standout colour, therefore I like him the most. No, nothing to do with that. I think he was actually in One Piece recently. I think he was in the One Piece show.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but I just looked up who he was. Him and actually the actor who plays Ash were flash facting in the non-flash fact aspect.
How dare you?
Them two, I think they might have shared screen time. I don't know. I haven't seen Boiling Point, but they were in Boiling Point. I don't know if it was the movie or the show.
Yeah, I've seen the movie, but not the show. I can't remember him in the movie. But
Dubs was in both, and Ash, the actor who plays Ash, was in one of them. I didn't know that just by self-searching. So, what I'm trying to say is Dubs was pretty cool, and he had a bit of code. And in the process of the jewelry heist, a lot of them were escaping on their own. This reminded me of the flashback sequence to Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, did they all split off and?
Well, it was more so. You had Ash and Dubs on their bikes coming around the corner, and later, a few minutes later, the two other boys, Mole and Cubs, coming around the corner, and. You know, this is the time where you expect something to go wrong, and something wrong does go, because Dubs gets hit by a car and he goes flying 90 in the air and he's dead. The guy whose family is the benefactor, the guy who seemed to have the most cop-on common sense and code of honor within this gang land of theft and robbery, probably the one with the moral code, dead. And
that feels like it's really where everything goes downhill.
Yeah, it definitely so downhill. Like, this isn't the 3-story arc, this is the 5-story arc, where things rise up, and then down, not rise up, an extended plateau struggle, and then the final arc. It's like Goodfellas in a way. I remember seeing in class when we were being taught that Goodfellas is actually a 5-story arc, not a 3-story. So this is the 5-story arc, and you know, I thought Dubs were they gonna just make him come across as a traitor to Ash when it would suit him. Would he end up coming on to Ash's sister because he seemed to be too good to her? You know, was he going to be one of these sleazeballs? No, none of that. Honest, genuine guy. Killed. And then they all leave, and without Diamond. And that's what I mean. It reminded me of that one flashback scene where driving a car, Quentin Tarantino was shot in the head. Harvey Keitel gets up and riddles two handguns into a police car, and And that's when... Do you remember that flashback sequence?
I don't. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I know.
It just took me back there because
Yeah.
they're coming around the corner. The guys are all together. They've lost one of their own. They're so close to cops, but then they just about escape by the skin of their teeth, and then they return diamondless, and then they'd have to pull another job. What did they got to do? They got to rope Roach back in, and he comes in. Yeah, not a bother.
Do they rope Roach? They do. They go to do another job and it fails.
No,
Is Roach back before that? No.
No, so they go in. I don't believe any job did fail.
They go into the one with the two guys and they start to rob it, and the two security guys don't back down and they leave. I don't think they had Roach back at that point. And that's when they realise, oh, we can't do this without Roach.
I can't remember that specifically. What I do remember is the robbery where Dubs was there, and then what I do remember is the robbery where Roach was there.
Yeah, there was one, I think, in between that where...
Really?
Yeah, they came in and there were the two security guys and he had the knife on him, and the two security guys never backed down.
I thought that was one where Roach was there.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought I can't remember.
Well, actually, I think I do remember that one. And like they're not as big as they claim their britches to be, but yeah, Roach was there because he was the one wielding the knife.
Okay, I thought it was the...
But the last one were the final heist, where that's when Roach takes a fire extinguisher to the head, and then that's when Ash was getting the knee to his throat, and he couldn't breathe.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know about you, but I fully was like, I wonder, is this specifically in reference to the kind of...
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I like the I don't want to come across like too political or anything like that, and reading into it more than I
but
the recent Black Lives Matter stuff with George Floyd and stuff like that. And I wonder, is it because Ash was black that your man, he did have an inherent racism in him to do that?
I think it's a mixture of both. Maybe whether it would be inherent racism, maybe the guy is just racist without even realizing. Who knows? But for look, the sake of it is, he came in and he robbed a store and he's throwing threats and he's apprehending the culprit.
Yeah.
Now, he does have his knee to his neck, and any sane individual should know, you do that, you could kill them.
You probably will kill them, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I'm just curious if that was an intentional thing to do because Ash was a black man.
No, I don't think so. I think it was for the purpose of the scene. You know, Ash is black, but he's the main character. And if that was happening to, let's say, Roach or Mole or Cubs, who's also black, if it was happening to Cubs, I would be like, oh no, I actually fear for this guy's life because he's a character, a supporting character on the team who's not the main character. Therefore, he could die. So no, I think it was for the element, the purpose of the scene, for the, you know, it's
what's this? Yeah, if he continues down this road, he might end up dead.
Perhaps,
maybe so. Yeah,
but Roach comes in and saves him and gets him out of there. In fact, I forgot to mention this as well. Mole was arrested.
Oh,
because in the previous job, probably the one with the two security guards, he was lifted because they spotted his mole.
Oh, yes.
So,
I remember that now.
And I remember Dubs saying that he was in prison before. And so back he goes. And he's out of the picture. So we've lost Dubs. And now Mole's arrested off screen. And I like how that was just said and we didn't see it, you know. Because if we saw it, well then maybe there could have been indirect foreshadow of him giving up the rest of the guys, which they said in conversation, in dialogue, that he wouldn't. So if we saw more of Mole, I think us as an audience would be thinking, okay, he's gonna be grilled and interrogated and threatened with more prison life. So but because that's not the path they take, it's not what we. It's there's no point in seeing it any further. So the final heist is conducted between Dubs. No, not Dubs. He's dead. Cubs. Ash and Roach, and the three of them are running off on their merry way. And isn't Roach and Ash together in their
Roach
fleet?
and Ash are together, and
you know there's this bickering rivalry. Like Roach is coming to the point where he's become like unstable, and you know, like he's the one who could like turn tail and just he could be. I know he could have left Ash sitting there with the knee on his throat, but he didn't. So these two are still good mates.
Yeah, even though he was kind of tossed aside earlier on.
Yeah,
he is still,
and
they're still mates. Yeah,
and he would what? I thought it was a little bit cringy coming from a character like Roach, but saying I will feed you to the wolves, like that doesn't seem like something you would say. Like I get it.
That's something that if the full group was still together, they get back and someone would say, "What the fuck was that?" Like you'd take the piss out of them for that.
But I suppose it grounds the seriousness of the situation.
And then that final, after they do that heist, then we get kind of our first chase scene. And I was kind of curious if they would do a chase scene, because there was a few times where they were robbing and you heard sirens and then they were away. They were never caught or anything like that.
Yeah, so there's no proper chase scene.
No chase scenes. And I obviously kind of knew it myself. I put it down to it being a smaller budget film, that they didn't have the budget for police cars and chase scenes and stuff like that. But I'm glad then in the climax of it that we got chase scene. And it was
just remember that Fast X had how many chase sequences?
Yeah, maybe you don't always need a lot of chase sequences. Yeah, maybe that's a good point.
And that budget had what compared to this?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's
just
fair. Yeah.
just to give you a comparison.
But I'm glad then we did get a chase sequence.
Oh yeah, we're as if we were rewarded.
Yeah, exactly.
Scooby
Doo here now, saying we're rewarded.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then the chase scene was good. The fact that it was two police on motorbikes as well. That it's not.
We should give a praise on how they shot that. Like some of it did look like GoPro sequences.
Yeah,
but like it's a lot of motorbikes, so there's a lot of individuals doing a lot of stunt work, physical vehicle, roadworthy stunt work.
Yeah, and it didn't look like
a small budget. Like
didn't look like stuff was like closed off or anything like that. Like it might have just been like. Kind of, I don't know how they filmed it. Just
conducted swiftly and quickly.
Yeah. Okay. There's not a lot of traffic. Go. You know. But yeah, no, I have to commend it on that. Like it was a decent enough chasing. And then they end up back, and it's no longer the.
One. It's no wonder.
Cousin.
Yeah. So
it's another
Albanian
guy.
A typical asshole.
Yeah.
And
who you'd expect in a lot more of these. Traditional gangster films, like the quiet guy that will cut off your finger, to send a message, and he's taken over.
And Cubs is moped fails him, dies down.
So he used to run.
Yeah, he's run.
The threat of you wouldn't say now he'd run and leave.
Yeah,
and
we
take
see
the money.
We see that as he enters a bus. So I was actually confused. I know he's taking a bus because he can't get there because the poor thing died. Had to put her down. Talking about the moped.
I think I would have liked a little bit more tension in that.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I did have it that he is going to meet them.
Yeah.
And I think there maybe were just a few too many shots of him running. So if it had ended with him getting on the bus.
Yeah.
And maybe ringing his missus or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's left a little bit ambiguous.
And
then he does come in at the end.
Yeah.
He didn't betray them.
Yeah.
I think that would have
because I suppose when he got off the bus running, he's not going to betray them. He is going to return with the diamonds.
And then there was that shot. I was a little bit like, okay, that was a bit weird when he dropped them all. When he dropped the bag, like if I was running with a full bag of diamonds, first of all, it would be closed, so there was no chance of any diamonds falling out, but I definitely wouldn't drop it. It was just like that was a little bit like
my anxiety would be, is anyone watching me?
Yeah,
that's where my head was at the time, because they're on. Like, I know he switched his jumper, took it off. He's not an easy suspect, but he's got a bag. And just not being racist, but he is black, and that.
If this was an American movie and it wasn't set in London, this guy would be profiled and immediately stopped. Yeah, he's a black young male with wearing all black and with a bag.
I actually think he was wearing grey. Wearing all grey.
Yeah, and then carrying a bag and kind of looking around, looking suspicious, and like looking at his surroundings. So I think in another movie set in another place, he would have definitely been caught. Yeah. Or he would have been profiled, or he would have been
Which is why my
stopped.
anxiety was there. But he does make it to the headquarters safe and sound with the diamonds, and great. Their debt is paid. They don't owe Dubs' cousin the beneficiary anymore. But then this typical asshole comes in, okay, you work for me now. And Ash at this point has felt the weight of the world, you know. He's already told the sea snake to F off. And you know, when you say that to him, he's feeling the pressure. You know, because all the sea snake is doing is just helping him.
Yeah, when someone lashes out at someone that's only looking out for them, and you just take it out unnecessarily, then it's like, okay, this is... If I was the sea snake, then I would know, okay, there's something up. You know, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, so Ash is like full on saying, no, I can't. And he won't. And he's got a gun to his head. You know, I've never had a gun pointed to my head, so I don't know what I would say or do to you know,
to get out of that
situation. But he sticks to his guns and he says no.
I also, if I was an Albanian drug lord, I wouldn't really want people working for me that don't want to work for me. That's just me, though. If someone doesn't want to work for me, that's fine. Don't. I only want people that are like dedicated.
And then I suppose the unsung hero in that situation is Roach.
Yeah, I think he is happy to continue this life of crime.
Oh, more than happy.
So he
but him volunteering to work for the Albanian is his way of rescuing Ash.
Yeah, he gets to be the hero, but also continue in this life of crime.
Yeah, because it suits him.
Suits him, and I think he sees it as, okay, this guy is bigger than the cousin, the girl. So maybe things are going to get bigger here. Because he already had that mentality anyway. The fact he was carrying around acid throughout the film, like, just in case.
It's kind of funny in a way because the three main guys really was Ash, Roach and Dubs, and then the other two were like there to support the roles that they were in, you know. But it was in a way that, you know, the fact of where it leads where it all ends up with these guys, with Dubs dying and Roach getting Ash out, so Roach can continue into life. It does feel like the templates of their characters lend itself to Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. And lots of movies do that, but I like that. I like that they weren't all the same, especially those three. Because, for example, I'd like to compare Dubs to Roach. Dubs kicking Roach out because of his impulsiveness and his outrageousness and his unpredictability. Yes, Dubs dies, and Roach gets the life that Dubs was living, but Dubs wanted to become more, whereas Roach is like, yeah, he can get into this. I like that parallel between them two, and they never saw eye to eye whatsoever. And here's Ash, poor Ash, in the middle of it all.
Stuck in the middle, yeah,
thinking he wanted it when really he couldn't face it. So I think saying that out loud made me appreciate it even more now. So I like that. But then I just said, hey, Cubs gonna do it as well, yeah? You gonna join in? I was like, yeah, sure. I dig.
He's got a family to support. He's got
but
it did seem like it was very just like,
what else can we do with this character?
Yeah,
like, at least with Mole, they closed his character off by him being arrested off screen. Like, at least they had a chapter end, a conclusion with him. Whereas Cubs was like, not that you didn't do anything wrong, but maybe the fact that you had a conclusion on each of the boys, even the love interest, he was just
he leaves left over.
It was just like a tossed over one dialogue exchange conclusion to him. When, given the way it ends, I don't know how else you could have ended it, because it doesn't end with him being arrested or being killed or leading to police to the place. No, nothing like that. So, okay, it is what it is, because Ash ain't being friends with these two anymore.
No, this is he's moving on from this.
He's moving on from it. He's going to work with the sea snake.
Hopefully, he can mend that relationship, yeah.
And what did you think of the conclusion? Ash running into the night, running away as if he's being chased from the life he's trying to escape from, and he runs to the sea snake, and he hugs him. And it just...
Oh, and he breaks down and is... Yeah, no, I think that's... It's very clear that he was over his head, and this is the first time that he's kind of let everything come to a boil.
Yeah.
And he's realised how close he was to death. He's realised,
After having a gun pointed at his face, I'm sure that'll do it.
yeah, a gun pointed to his head. There was that. There was the fact that Dubs is dead. There is the fact that he was nearly caught by the police, and it's like it's no longer that he'd be thrown in the cell for the night.
It's prison.
It's prison. He realized he just realized, wow, I could be in a lot worse of a situation than here now with this guy who is genuinely looking after me and has an eye on me and wants to help. So I think that, and then there's also that whole, the masculinity of it all, of like the pressure of having to look after his sister and his mom being a drug addict and stuff like that, and probably not able to show emotion or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's finally all come to a head now. It's all broken, and he's able to just release it.
Yeah.
A cathartic release. And I think that where he's going with that now, being with the sea snake, and he is going to go for a more honest living and maybe go down that track for the betterment of him, his mom, and his sister.
We see, here's the thing, David. While I liked that at the end, I think we could have had 1 or 2 or 3 more scenes to just close it off, because I just felt like it would have been maybe a bit a better conclusion to see what are they going to do with the mother, because she was somewhat ever present during Ash's home life.
Yeah.
Whether she was there or not, but her character was ever present. So if they closed her narrative off by her agreeing to go to rehab, or not agreeing, therefore leaving the children's lives, whatever it would be, I'm not going to write it for them.
Or worse, if she had found his stash of money and robbed it.
Well, then she could be gone.
Yeah.
Just
gone completely.
But
yeah.
but then that would be a conclusion.
Yeah.
At least that would be closed off. And then, okay, well then it's still Ash and his sister together. And
maybe even that she, obviously not trying to write the movie, but if she had robbed all the money and then if he had gotten, say if he was back home.
Yeah.
And after that scene,
yeah,
and the police came to the door,
yeah,
and he thinks it's because someone's ratted on him, but it's actually that they found his mother dead, and it's wrapped up there that she's overdosed.
No, see, even then I want that to be the conclusion.
You wouldn't want that to be the conclusion.
No, not well. Whether that scene can happen, but not end there. No.
Okay.
You see, I thought it was just a bit abrupt to cut to black where the movie did while he was hugging the sea snake. Hence, I wanted, okay, the next scene we can, whether the sea snake can be involved or not, conclude the narrative of the mother, whether it be overdosing, going to rehab, leaving with having stolen the stash, whatever it would be, just add that addition there, and then I think where you could close off the movie would be giving us some visual medium to show that Ash is going to start this normal life, this honest way of living, this decent way of working. Yeah. And whether that would be the opening scene, the sea snake and Ash standing outside their workshop, and Ash not having an ounce of clue on how to do anything like this, and here's the sea snake as a somewhat mentor, father figure saying, I'll teach you. I'll show you the way. This is the way. And
he looks across and he sees some boys robbing a mobile phone and a moped, and he sees it and then walks back into the shop.
Well, maybe something like that. I thought, could be. So, but anyway, I suppose rather than cutting to black, if we just closed off the tale of the mother, however you wanted to do it, however it would have been deemed fit, to then, okay, yeah, he's still managing to look after his sister. If you want to have a scene there with that, okay, great. But then the final scene would, yes, showing him working, going to work, being helpful, even if he's helping a customer or whatever, or something. So I think an extra maybe 10 minutes could have served this movie a lot better to conclude the overall story. And I think you could have executed that in maybe 2 to 3 scenes, maybe one long extended scene sequence with the mother, and then the sea snakes there, and then the sister could be there, and you can just close that how you see fit. And yes, I introduced the anxious element of, oh, did someone rat on me because the police are here? No, nothing to do with that. She overdosed, or whoever you wanted to write it.
Yeah.
I'm spitballing options here on what I would have liked to have had conclude in this movie.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I literally just thought about that part where the two of them outside their workshop, and I'll teach you, you go to work, and honestly, I literally just thought about that as I first said it, and because it would be a closing of the book, and one door closes, another door opens, end of one life, start of a new life. That's what I would have liked, rather than a release of your sorrows. And
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
that's what I want. I think this movie could have had that, because of all the setup, because of all the time we spent. That's pretty much my only critique I would have had of the movie. Otherwise, there's nothing really ever wrong with a movie, unless it's just Madam Web.
Well, speaking of closing the book on this story, will we close the book on the episode?
Please do.
Have you got a recommendation for us before this little epilogue here now of Talking Pictures?
I do have a recommendation.
Hit me with it.
Have you watched The Three Body Problem?
No, not yet. But please tell me about it.
So I watched the first episode with my sister. I just casually suggested it. Later that night, I watched the next 4 episodes.
How many episodes is there? 8?
8.
8 episodes.
And I purposely said no. Episode 5 was a good way to just go to bed. Good way to end it off. And I wanted to finish the next 3 episodes together, and I finished the next 3 episodes last night. So I completed it within the span of 4 days, taking a 2-day break in between.
So 2 days, really? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days.
And it feels so surreal having watched it. Because it's not something I've seen before. It's not a very popular idea, concept, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, the one that just recently came out. That's that can be perceived as a popular traditional template for storytelling. Three Body Problem, not so much.
Okay, good. I look forward to it. It's one of those ones that I've heard people talking about, but it's not like mainstream people talking about it. Like, it's not entered the mainstream in the same way that stuff like maybe Game of Thrones or Stranger Things. Like, I feel like when Stranger Things hit Netflix, everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I know it's an unfair comparison, but like Squid Game was the biggest thing in the world.
If the popularity and hype of Squid Game made to the level of a 10, I think Three Body Problem made it to the level of 6. And and I don't know if I'm being fair or generous or harsh. I don't know. It's just a random guess on the rating score on how people are loving it. But I just randomly told my sister, and then she finished it as well the same night I did.
Nice.
So it's from the guys who did Game of Thrones. Pay no heed to what that show concluded, whether you liked it or not. They're still good writers. That's a fact. They did a good job with this show.
See, they're good at adapted material. Because this is Three Body Problem is a book.
Yes.
And Game of Thrones was a book.
Yes.
Up until the last 2 seasons. And that's where people started to have the real bad problem.
Okay.
So I would put it that they are really good at adapting material.
Well, hopefully Netflix doesn't cancel this and we get another season, 2 seasons. Because actually, season 1 of Three Body Problem
is a book and a bit.
A book and a bit, David.
Yeah.
Episode 5 is the end of one book, of book 1. And the next 3 episodes are the start of the next book, I think. But I think I heard it's the next of the next 2 books. And it's a good ensemble cast, some familiar faces of Game of Thrones actors. Some, the same guy who composed the music does the music here.
Cool.
So definitely, you should jump on the Three Body Problem as soon as you get a chance, whether you're able. And I felt I've had a bit of a strange, untraditional experience in watching a new show because I watched it so quickly.
Yeah.
Like
you normally space stuff out a little bit.
I didn't even have this on our calendar as, oh, this is what's coming out.
Yeah.
Because the trailers did no justice for it. And you don't know what it's about.
No.
I wish I could tell you what it's
Is it better to go into it like that, like not knowing?
I don't know, because I got the benefit of having to pass on this pitch to my sister, and she got it, and I don't know if that elevated the like she had for wanting to continue it, or if it was indifferent. So I don't know. If you ask me, if you say to me, Brian, tell me the elevator pitch, I'll tell you. But if you don't want me to tell you, I won't tell you.
I think I'll go into it blind.
Okay. So, Free Body Problem, please give us season 2 and 3. I'm assuming that'll be a 3-season arc. Don't cancel it.
Please, Netflix.
I invested too much time in this.
And then my recommendation would be The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. We got the finale of it there.
Twice, David. You recommended it when it premiered.
Did I?
You did.
Well, I think that it ended. Well, it ended. Well, I think it ended. I know it ended.
It ended.
I watched it. It ended there last week, and I have to say, as someone who watched the TV show, the mainline TV show, The Walking Dead,
as it's called,
that ending was quite disappointing. Whereas with
to say the least,
I think that with this, the Ones Who Live is a nice little epilogue and a nice kind of finale of, if you were disappointed by the mainline show, then this is a good ender. And I think you could probably end, if you wanted to have a sweet ending, in terms of not watching any more Walking Dead content, this is a good chapter close and putting a stamp on it and saying, okay, I'm done. And they're 6 episodes, some great episodes in there.
Episode really 4 was great.
Yeah, the character driven, because it is more character driven.
Yeah, it's only these two. There really are only 3 main characters, or maybe 3. Really, no. Yeah. You know what? No, scratch that. Backtrack it. Undo that entirely.
It's 2.
And riddles
one recurring.
Yeah, and then there are like 2 other supporting characters. Really, that's it. So
but it's very much about Rick and Michonne.
Yes,
and the best. The show is at its best when they are together.
Yeah.
But that's not to be said. The first 2 episodes I really enjoyed as well.
Oh,
when they're separate.
Tell you what, I kept on telling myself as I was watching this show, this 6-episode show, I have never more believed than I have while watching this until now. If you're following my drift, I've never believed more so the relationship between Rick and Michonne.
Absolutely, 100%.
Like, this is by far the best portrayal of their relationship for me to believe it thoroughly. Like, I believe, like for example, when he says "you are the love of my life," I'm thinking, Laurie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, even though that was said, I'm like, but I still believe you love each other. You know, and Michonne can take out Rick.
Oh, absolutely.
2-handed or not.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that it was a nice ending chapter to possibly this story and The Walking Dead.
I'm still gonna watch Daryl Dixon, and
it's still gonna go on.
Dead City.
But it is a decent, if you wanted to stop here.
Yeah, I am actually surprised they only did 1 season of it, 6 episodes. I actually not genuinely surprised. But I am surprised. I thought this was gonna be there's 3 seasons of this. Nope. Dead City's getting it 2nd season. Daryl Dixon's 2nd season's coming out this year. So, okay.
And that brings an end to this episode of Talking Pictures. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for hosting.
Hey, come here, Brian. Thanks for being here. Very much appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you are subscribed to us on your podcast app of choice. Make sure that you are following us on all social medias that you have,
especially TikTok.
We are on TikTok, we are on X, I'm not even going to call it X anymore, I'm going to Twitter. We're on Twitter.
It's Twitter. I'm not on Twitter personally, but it's Twitter. We're on TikTok. Wreck-It Ralph 2. It says Twitter.
Okay, then that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Wreck-It Ralph says it. We are on TikTok, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube as well. Make sure that you are subscribed to us, because we post new episodes every single Wednesday, right when you wake up, and then as well as that, there's bonus episodes every couple of weeks, so make sure that you're tuning in for those.
If you like hearing us chat about this, please, we appreciate a 5-star rating and a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, well then, rather than disliking us, why don't you send us in an email saying, hey guys, I think you should do more of this, a little less of this, you know.
Yeah, and share with a friend. Make sure that you're telling everybody.
Give it a repost there.
Yeah, just repost it. Why not? Costs you nothing.
Gives us everything. Hey.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, David.